Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. In the current state of modern mainstream video game journalism and critique being on the, I guess, downslide, spiraling out of control into irrelevance, you would think that, I don't know, a website who called The Gamer wouldn't tell people not to listen to them, but you know, I guess if you read between the lines, that's exactly what they're saying now. I'm getting my own opinion. Well, good for you, James. You work for a video game website. You should probably have already played the game. But he says, stop listening to others. You mean like your website? Your irrelevant, nonsensical, partisan, biased website? Try Assassin's Creed Shadows for yourself. Yes, spend your hard-earned money on a game that, you know, quite a few people are out there calling a buggy mess and nonsensical story and, you know, glitchy gameplay. Go spend the money for yourself, you bigot. Assassin's Creed Shadows is the latest victim of the culture war. It's the latest victim of the shit war, of the terrible video game war, of the we're tired of you shoveling slop, unfinished games down our throats and demanding that we like it. That is what it is a victim of. It features Yasuke, a historical black samurai. Oh, really? That's been debunked 15, 16, 17 times already. Okay? The individual who claimed he was an actual samurai and not just a retainer, a novelty for Nobunaga, has already been called out and proven to be a fraud. But hey, we're going to keep pushing this narrative. But in a series where we fist fight the Pope to steal the apple of Eden and where magical staffs make Greek warriors immortal, he is somehow too far-fetched. Yes, the argument that people don't want a black man in their video game. Well, that's never, well, that has never been the sensible argument that channels like mine have put forth. The argument has been, you made an Assassin's Creed game, because we have to repeat this over and over again so these schmucks don't forget. You made an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan, and you decided to make the main male protagonist not Japanese. Everything else was just piled on top of it after that. The argument of whether or not Yasuke was nothing more than a retainer, and whether he had the title of samurai, that was lagniappe, extra. Nonsensical little extra tidbits for people to argue back and forth about. The crux of the argument was Ubisoft's claims to be historically accurate and respectful to the Japanese culture, when just about everything that came out from the game, the marketing, the extra little toys and bells and whistles and other nonsense, showed otherwise. But hey, having Yasuke in the game is too far-fetched. Moving on. With Shadows, the anger has come from many directions, all of which you decide to ignore and call us nothing but racist, toxic man-babies. Those claiming to be offended on behalf of Japanese, even though actual Japanese people came out and said they were a little irritated and offended by all this. The historical inaccuracies of romances in the series. You made Yasuke have sex with a Japanese woman whose family, whose descendants were all emperors of Japan. That's a little disrespectful, but hey, you know, whatever. In a series that has always kept reality at arm's length, except for the fact that Ubisoft said definitively that they were trying to be as historically accurate and respectful. Again, you're leaving those little important parts out, but what can you expect from the mainstream journalists? Arm's length are simply outrage at playing as Yasuke at all. I've heard a lot of people are having way more fun as Yahweh. Yet Shadows is the first game in a long time to give me hope. Oh dear, the noise mattered little, as the game sold over 1 million copies, according to who? According to who? Oh, in a single day. No, my poor little sweet summer child, your reading comprehension has failed you. Because there has not been one single definitive post from Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft saying how many copies they sold. They've only been talking about the number of players. 1 million players, 2 million players, 3 million players. Why would you lie? I mean, you're either being intentionally disingenuous or you're objectively, well, window licking, paint chip eating, room temperature IQ take that probably should not be working. Or maybe you are the perfect employee at the gamer. But hey, sold over 1 million copies. Not one report of it, but hey. While the player-led Steam reviews are very positive, really. But more than that, there's a palpable sentiment among the community that mirrors exactly what I, and so many others, are feeling. All this vitriol does not matter. Well, I did a video recently. I don't care, it doesn't matter. Well, if it didn't matter, why are you writing about it? It doesn't matter. Why do we make videos about it? Because it does matter, and we do care. And it's okay. It's perfectly all right to care about these things. It's perfectly all right to believe that they do matter. Don't lie. Don't deflect. Just be honest. And maybe you'll gain some more of that little bit of respect that you have left. Play the game and decide how you feel from it. Feel from that. So, in other words, don't listen to the gamer. Don't listen to video game reviews. Make your decision on your own. Why would you put out such a statement when your website depends on traffic? Your website is about video games. Almost telling people that, don't bother coming to us anymore. Fuck it. I'm getting my own opinion. Okay. /you/Ronja blah blah blah. Oh, Reddit post. Oh, that's a wonderful place. On Assassin's Creed is succinct, but it captures the moment perfectly. We're all tired. Again, you work for a website that is supposed to be talking about video games. It isn't just one game every now and then where backlash is stirred up by content creators. It's every single new release, except that it's actually not, because there have been quite a few in the past year, most of which you try to ignore or disparage, that have been praised ad nauseum. What is it? Black Myth Wukong, praised. Hogwarts Legacy a couple of years ago, praised. Space Marine 2, praised. What else? Helldivers 2, outside of the whole PlayStation Network nonsense and the nerfs and everything, still praised as a fantastic game. So, one game after another? Well, maybe if the developers stopped making trash and expecting us to swallow it and ask for more, like, I don't know, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, continuously releasing buggy messes, unfinished games, and then saying, oh, we'll try to fix it in post. No. Put out better games. Larian Studios was able to do it. Why can't you? Larian Studios is not a AAA studio with 20,000 employees that just got about 25% bought by Tencent, but whatever. It's just one game of many. I'm still recovering from Avowed, that mid-as game that Avowed was, and I can't even remember why people were mad. Well, that's because you want to ignore the criticism. Why were people mad about Avowed? Well, because, a few years ago, a little trailer came out, and the finished product looks nothing like the trailer that was presented. It's boring. You can hardly interact with anything in the game. It's beautiful. The atmosphere, the surrounding is very, very well done. And there's a decent amount of exploration that is rather rewarding. But the story, the NPCs, bland, boring, mid, something, we would expect more from Obsidian Studios. But, of course, you can't remember why people were mad. Hell, they even tried it with Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, before its rampant success, what did they try with Monster Hunter Wilds? Unless you're talking about idiots like Yorch Torch. Oh, no, wait. He ignored that part. Going after Avowed for the pronouns, but not want to say anything about Monster Hunter Wilds, even though they removed the gender restrictions, but that's a topic for a whole other discussion. They even tried it with Monster Hunter Wilds before its rampant success caused a backpedal. There are some people that do that. They backpedal so fast they look like crawfish in a swamp. That came out wrong. Whatever. Or incorrect. Crawfish field. We'll go with that. Moving on! Caused a backpedal that saw people try to claim it as a mascot of everything they want gaming to be, not a representation of its evils. What on earth are you talking about? Can someone explain that to me? Who was championing Monster Hunter Wilds as a mascot of everything they want gaming to be? I've seen a lot of complaints, especially from the Monster Hunter community, about problems with the game and making it rather, well, a lot more inclusive, making it easier, removing the barrier of entry, toning down the difficulty. Moving on. The last thing I expected after months of online arguments in every comment section was for Assassin's Creed to be the one that marks a change, huh? Yet popular posts on the subreddit say that, quote, Ubisoft absolutely cooked it with this prologue. Sure, I believe there are a lot of people out there that like the game. There are a lot of people out there that cannot stand the game. And there's a lot of people that will never play the game. You know what? That happens with every single video game out there. It just is. Not everyone's going to like every single game. As long as the developer doesn't go out of their way to try and please everyone with a single game. Stick to a theme. Stick to what you do best. Make the game you want to make. And see if it succeeds. The canon mode is the, quote, best mechanic they've added in years, and which honestly isn't really a bad idea, but it removes choice from a video game that could possibly be classified as a role-playing game. I personally wouldn't want anything like that. If you're going to put it on rails, put it on rails, because that's what a canon mode would be. It's on rails. Your choices don't matter. Not my cup of tea. Best mechanic they've added. And that it easily has some of the best... Oh my goodness. Best stealth combat in the series. A few days ago, I did a video showing off some of the stealth mechanics. The prone position that makes you nigh unhittable. Yeah, it's the bestest ever. There's so much positivity as people are ignoring the outrage. Well, good for them. That's fine. If not actively pushing back against it and seeing for themselves if the game is worth their time. It's such a simple notion, but for years it has felt completely out of reach. That statement right there throws me off. You have so many people, you have a lot of people out there that do not go after reviews because more than likely they don't want spoilers. They fall in love with a franchise like Assassin's Creed, like Dragon Age, like The Witcher, as an example. They fall in love with the franchise from one game or another, and in the case of The Witcher, have every intention 100% will buy The Witcher 4. Regardless, and likely ignoring the drama, the turmoil, the, well, what I consider a non-traversy. Some would consider it more important than I do, but whatever. They will buy it regardless, or maybe even in spite of all that stuff, because they love the world, they love the story, and they have more faith in CD Projekt Red right now than I do. And I love Cyberpunk 2077 or Grand Theft Auto 6. There is a mountain of customers chomping at the bit to drop down whatever the price tag will be. Will it be $100 for the base game? Will it be $150 for the extra bells and whistles game? Get those shark cards, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, people will drop their money and take days, if not weeks, off when that game is finally released and will not give a toss about the goings-on in the studio and the decisions that they make of no longer wanting to punch down with their jokes and not having any more trans or LGBT humor in the game because they don't care. They want a Grand Theft Auto game, and they have every right to do so. No one has a problem with that. But you also have just as many people that will wait, that are closing their wallets, but because they are tired of the nonsense coming out of these devs. They're tired of the insults coming from websites like The Gamer and IGN and Polygon, more specifically Kotaku as well, holding on to their wallets, shutting them tight, waiting for trusted reviews, something I highly recommend. Vote with your wallet. If you want to buy it by all means. I do recommend waiting for people you trust to talk about it, but if you want it day one, can't argue with that. All the backlash is getting exhausting. Well, it wouldn't be so exhausting if the red flags that we see in these video games didn't continuously lead to bad writing, bad storytelling, and buggy, atrocious messes of games. It wouldn't be so exhausting if, I don't know, your studios got their head out of their ass and made the game fun first. Sometimes a woke game turns out to be pretty bad. Woke. I don't use this word anymore, and there's a reason for it. It doesn't mean anything anymore. A woke game. Just look at Dragon Age, The Veilguard, and Concord. Concord looked ugly. The characters looked ugly. Concord failed because they put a $40 price tag, if not more, on a game and then dropped it in a market of free-to-play, prettier games. That's why Concord failed. Dragon Age the Veilguard failed because, well, the marketing was hideous, moronic, and foolish with their character creator showcase. Turned a lot of people away. Rightly so. And then when people started getting out there and actually playing the game, they realized, well, this is definitely not a return to form for Dragon Age. Not even remotely close. Very little player choice. You couldn't argue with your companions. And, well, ultimately, is it possible for a single NPC to destroy the marketing, the interest in a video game? Because if there is, Tosh is definitely one of them. Although, well, let's see. Let's start over. Sometimes a quote-unquote woke game turns out to be pretty bad. Well, Dragon Age, Veilguard, and Concord were bad. Although, was anyone anywhere on the political spectrum excited for Concord? Why are we bringing up... Oh, you said woke, so we got to bring up politics. These failings confirm that wokeness is what poisons games. It can. Of course it can. If your focus is on inclusivity and checkbox storytelling, then everything else fails. You don't prioritize the right things. You forgot to make it fun. So yes, it can happen. Conveniently ignoring the real reasons these games failed. Studio meddling. We're going to deflect now. Trend chasing and mass layoffs of veteran talent. Layoffs or they left. They fucked off to a better job. It also sidestepped progressive games like Baldur's Gate 3 that were smash hits. No. Larian Studios decided to make the game fun first. Make it fun first, fuckers. So, nobody's sidestepping anything. A lot of people acknowledge the lovely little bear sex scene. They acknowledge the checkbox, or what some would consider checkbox character creator. You can have a female character with rather large breasticles and a honking penis. So, is that progressive? Or is that just expanding options for players? Well, that's for the individual to decide. But again, Larian decided to make the game fun first. Forces the position to turn on a dime when Monster Hunter Wilds of Space Marine 2 launched to positive reception. Was there something so-called woke about Space Marine 2? Huh? How do you compare 3 fun games to something like Dragon Age the Veilguard Concord and Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then expect people to listen to your point? Do this for every single new franchise, you have a bit of a problem. Hold on, I missed something there. These failings confirm that wokeness is what poisons games, conveniently ignoring the real reasons these games failed. Studio meddling, blah, 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 blah. It also sidesteps progressive games like Baldur's Gate 3 that were smash hits and forces the position to turn on a dime. Okay. Turn on a dime when Monster Hunter Wilds and Space Marine 2 launched to positive reception. Do this for every single new release and you have a bit of a problem. Gamers want fun games first. You'd be amazed. I've said this time and time again. And I will never be wrong. Okay? It's been proven countless times. The drama that came out with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because, oh my God, the optional romance, the optional homosexual romance, nobody cared, at least the people who bought the game and played it, praised it because, well, they made it fun first. Space Marine 2, Baldur's Gate 3, every single one of these games. These developers prioritized the game, the story, the mechanics, the world, and then they added some bullshit in afterwards that nobody cared about because they were too busy having fun. Concord wasn't fun. Concord shouldn't even be on this list. Dragon Age Veilguard, Star Wars Outlaws, again, Assassin's Creed Shadows. You prioritize the wrong thing instead of focusing on the fun factor. Gamers don't care about your BS as long as it's fun. Talked about Final Fantasy VII countless times. Just think about that game. That's an environmentalist wet dream. And yet, it's popular. It's famous. One of the greatest RPGs of all time. The original. It is. And it's fun. People like Ranja, whoever your name is, eventually tire of hearing, well, good for them, so get off Reddit. Close your Reddit account, get off social media, and don't rot your brain. Eventually tire of hearing that the game they're excited for in a series they love is, quote, woke garbage. So they try it for themselves. Well, good for them. They took the chance and dropped $70 on a game that they may or may not have liked. Many people aren't doing that anymore. Because time and time again, $70 price tag on a broken, unfinished game, regardless of what checkbox nonsensical ideology they put in the game. My lesbians, my homosexuals, my quote-unquote woke games. They're not willing to drop $70 or more on a game like that if there's any sort of nonsense surrounding it. And you know what? That's okay. Vote with your wallet, ladies and gentlemen. In most cases, they'll probably like the game. Probably. You ignorant twat. There's a lot of people out there that do not have the ability to take that $70 chance on probably liking the game. So they go out of their way. They go to, unfortunately, some of them go to thegamer.com or IGN or Kotaku. Some of them even go to, well, less than credible reviewers online who get nifty little goodie bags that worth $400 from Ubisoft, but they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid for a positive review, but that's a really nice $400 box that you got, including the game. And some people go to regular schmucks like me, like Heel versus Babyface, like Mauler, like Rags, hell, even to Critical Drinker, to see what they think about a video game if they play it. Although I don't think Critical Drinker plays the games. Find a reviewer. Find a video game reviewer that you enjoy watching, that you value their opinion. Find multiple and go from there. Where was I? In most cases, they'll probably like it. I'm not dropping $70 on something that I might not like. And every time this happens, the anger in the far corners of the gaming sphere loses touch with the masses. And that's why, they're gaining popularity. That's why Hypnotic is gaining subscribers. That's why Smash JT is gaining subscribers, because they're losing touch with the masses. That's why Vera Dark is gaining subscribers when she plays video games and gets all the super chats. That's why Az gets all the super chats when he plays the video games, because they're losing touch with the masses. Sounds like jealousy. Because the ones that are losing touch with the masses, with the audience, are the mainstream journalists, the mainstream gaming websites. Over and over again, they're losing their relevancy and they're desperate. They're grasping, treading water, desperate for air, in hopes that maybe one article will help them win, when all they're doing is just grasping at straws. Poke enough fan bases, go after enough big, crowd-pleasing blockbusters, and try to wage a culture war against all the gaming, and the facade will quickly disappear. Now, I do believe that does apply to a few people in the sphere, but not even going to worry about naming names. You know who I'm talking about. Because people will play these games and quickly find that none of this outrage matters. Well, if that is true, and I do believe it is true, you find an individual talking about the game, and then you go, you know what? I like Assassin's Creed. I like all the games in the IP. I'm going to try this game out. And you find out that, well, the reviewer that you watched the video on, well, you find out they're correct. You do that a couple of times, you start to trust that reviewer. Now, however, if you play the game and you enjoy it, you like it, regardless of the shortcomings it has, you realize that maybe this particular reviewer is not for you. Maybe they're a little more biased than you like them to be. Then you move on and find someone else. It has nothing to do with going after the big, crowd-pleasing blockbuster. There's channels out there that make their living reviewing video games, playing video games for their audience. People trust them. People value their opinions. People wait for them to play the game and review it before they make their final decision on whether or not they want to buy the game. We're seeing that right now with Shadows. No, you're not. You're fooling yourself. Where, quote, fuck it, I'm getting my own opinion, is clearly winning out. Really? then why aren't they releasing the actual sales numbers? Because all they're talking about is 3 million players, which, even if that were sales, and we know it's not, because if it were sales, that's what they would be saying. Let's be generous and say 2 million sales. That's not enough to make the game profitable. We all know this. So, sure, I'm getting my own opinion. You go on with your bad self. Spend your $70, take that chance. Some people don't want to do that. We also saw it with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, who came out day 1, day 2, and day 3, talking about the number of units sold. They talked about they had no problem. They weren't ashamed. 2 million, 1 million, 2 million, 2 million units sold. Not players, units sold. Where players tried and failed to weaponize an optional gay romance. And yep, we ridiculed those fuckers as well. Because, well, yeah, optional gay romance. Yes, we went after them, criticized them. I lost subscribers for it. It is what it is. I stick to who I am. And we saw it last year with Silent Hill 2 Remake's woke strip club sign. Oh, the one where she looks pregnant. I remember that. Oh, yeah, that's true. Which turned out to have been exactly the same as the original game. That's called people jumping the gun, grasping at straws. I say, what is it? Barking at parked cars kind of thing? Crying wolf. When you cry wolf constantly like that, your reputation goes down. And I believe the reputation of those channels talking about the strip club sign, their reputation was affected by it. It feels like the tide is finally turning. It isn't. People are tired of the nonsense. They're tired of the bad games. People are getting fed up. Yes, that's correct. They're fed up with the bullshit. They're fed up with the buggy messes. Bored with all the outrage? Maybe, maybe not. If they were so bored with all the outrage, why are these channels still growing in audience? There's not much point in a hobby if you spend most of it angry online. I mean, getting your point across in a video, whether it's positive or negative, is what nerds have been doing constantly. Well, not in video format, just hanging out on the weekends with our friends talking about video games and board games and tabletop role-playing, etc. ad nauseum. So we've been doing this since gaming started, arguing about what's better than something else. Who's better? What character's better? What meta dominates the table that day? The only difference now is wider reach than ever. A reach that, well, the popular mainstream journalists had, but now with YouTube and social media, idiots like me can run our mouths for days and days and days like we used to on the weekends. There's not much point in a hobby. Read that already. I only hope that this collective exhaustion leads somewhere productive. You mean like good video games that we can talk about? That I'm finally going to do a video on? A good video game that I'm excited for? That's not called Doom? We don't need to go through this with every new release. Well, apparently, yes, we do, because the developers are continuously releasing buggy, broken, unfinished games. Just play the game, find out for yourself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, do not go to the mainstream reviewers. Don't go to the independent reviewers on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and etc., etc. Risk it. Spend that hard-earned $70 on a game that you might not like. Go it. Do it. Open up your wallets. Don't ask questions. Just consume product. Get excited for next product. I find it very odd that a website called The Gamer, who's supposed to talk about video games, is telling you not to listen to them. I know what he's saying. Don't listen to the chuds online, but the same goes for the independent, not the independent, the mainstream journalist website. Don't listen to them. Make your own decision. Honestly, vote with your wallet. Make whatever decision you see fit. If you enjoy the game, more power to you. I'm glad you got some enjoyment out of it. I'm currently enjoying a few games right now that I'll be talking about probably later, eventually, as soon as I learn how to make better review videos. But anyway, that's enough of my nonsense. Thank you for making it this far. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that you beg you to do. And I do hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for making it this far. Bye-bye.